Let's offer our respects to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Okay, so what did we see in our previous class? We are in chapter number
10.
10. What is the title of chapter 10?
Opulence of the Absolute.
Opulence of the Absolute. So here Krishna is describing his opulences. Why? Because opulence attracts. In order to attract the conditioned souls, therefore Krishna is speaking about his opulences. So that is his mercy that he speaks his opulences for us. Okay, so what did we see in the class? We saw the 4 nutshell verses, isn't it? The Chatushloki Gita, 8, 9, 10, and 11. If one wants to summarize the entire Bhagavad Gita in 4 shlokas, then this is where we can find the summary: 10.8, 10.9, 10.10, and 10.11. So in 10.8, Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, which means everything is emanating from me, Krishna says. He's a source of all spiritual and material worlds. Then in 10.8, he speaks about himself. 10.9, he speaks about his devotees. And then in 10.10 and 10.11, he's speaking about the relationship between the two. So what happens when his devotees are devoted to him? Then what happens? So that relationship is described in 10.10 and 10.11. So this is called as a Chatushloki Gita, or the 4 nutshell verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Today we have to begin from verse number 12, which also marks the beginning of section 3. But before that, please repeat Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, before we proceed, we need 2 volunteers to read. Who can read today?
I can read if nobody wants to.
Okay, so Shreya, you would like to read the translations or the other text?
Anything.
Okay, another volunteer to read?
I can also read.
Okay, Komal.
With Shreya. With Shreya Mataji. I'll read with her.
Okay, so let's read this summary of section 3 before we begin the section.
Mataji, who should read what?
Yeah, Komal,
translation or I can read translation of the.
Okay, I'll do the other text then.
Okay.
Yeah. That's fine. Okay, section 3, 10.12 to 10.18. Arjuna accepts Krishna's position and requests to hear more of his opulences. Arjuna refers to previous authorities, thus confirms Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead, also by his own realization, prays to Krishna to hear more of his glories so that he can always think of him and remember him. Otherwise, Krishna will remain unknowable.
So here Arjuna is going to speak for the first time since 8.2. If you recall, the first two verses of chapter 8, 1 and 2 was the last time Arjuna spoke when he asked a set of questions. And then the rest of the, chapter 8, the entire chapter 9 and chapter 10 so far, Krishna has been continuously speaking without any interruption. So finally now Arjuna is going to speak after a long time. Let's see. To say.
Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dhama pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adidevamajam vibhum ahustvam rishayas sarve devarshirnaradastatha asito devalo vyasaha Swayam chaiva bravishime.
Translation. Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me."
So here Arjuna, after he has heard Krishna speaking about the glories of devotional service and the Chatushloki Gita, Arjuna is speaking about what he has realized, and he's addressing Krishna in these different ways. He tells him that Krishna, you are Param Brahma, you are the supreme personality of Godhead. You are Param Dhama, you are the ultimate abode. Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Pavitram, you are the purest. Then he says, you are Paramam Bhavan Purusham, you are the supreme absolute truth. Absolute truth means there is no truth higher than that. Then he says that you are Shashvatam, you are eternal, and you are Divyam, you are transcendental. And then he tells him that you are Adi Devam, you are the original person. You are Ajam, unborn, and you are Vibhum, you are the greatest. So these are Arjuna's realizations after he has heard all that Krishna has spoken. And then he goes on to say that all the great sages such as Narada, Ashrita, Devala, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you. So one may think that, all right, Arjuna is accepting whatever Krishna has said. He says that you are all these things because Arjuna is Krishna's friend. Krishna is riding Arjuna's chariot. They are also cousins and they have a personal relation. So therefore Arjuna is saying this to please Krishna or because Arjuna has a soft corner for Krishna. But we are not Krishna's cousin. We are not Krishna's friend. So this Arjuna can say, but Arjuna has a reason to say so. But then Arjuna goes on to say that, he goes on to clarify that even the great sages like Narada, Ashita, Devala, and Vyasa, all these great authorities also have confirmed this truth about you, that you are the purest, you are the absolute truth, you are unborn, you are original, you are the greatest. Even the great sages have confirmed this. And now you yourself are also declaring it to me. So the fact that Krishna is all this, that he is the absolute truth, he is the supreme personality of Godhead, is declared by Krishna himself, is accepted by other authorities like Narada, Ashita, Devala, and Vyasa, and now Arjuna also has accepted it. Okay, externally speaking, Arjuna has accepted it, but again, we have to remember that Arjuna is a pure devotee and he's only playing a role. So here Arjuna is convinced, and Arjuna has no doubts in his mind, right? So we can know that from Arjuna's realizations. So therefore, from one angle of vision, one can say that the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita has ended at 10.11. Because after 10.11 here, when Arjuna is speaking, because he's completely convinced, therefore the Gita knowledge ends here. Krishna has convinced him. Yes. So from one angle of vision, the Gita knowledge begins at 2.11 because it was in verse 2, in chapter 2, verse 11, that Krishna starts to give Krishna this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita with some very heavy words. No, he says that you speak as though you're a very learned man, but you're speaking, but you're not learning, speaking words of wisdom. So that's where the Gita begins, 2.11, the Gita knowledge, and it ends at 10.11. So from one angle of vision, you can say the Gita ends here. But that doesn't mean that we are going to end the classes. There is a lot more coming up from Krishna and Arjuna. Okay, so here we know Narada Muni. Narada Muni is empowered incarnation of the Lord. He is empowered to preach. Vyasadeva, of course, he has put all the scriptures, all the shastras into writing, and Vyasadeva is a disciple of Narada Muni. I found some information about Ashita and Deval and the Veda ways. Not much is available. So, I don't have that slide here. Okay, we'll see that slide at the end of the class. Till then, let's go to the next verse. 14.
सर्वमेतद्धृतं मन्ये यन्मां वदसि केशव न हि ते भगवन् व्यक्तिं विदुर्देवानदानवाः.
Translation. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality.
So 10.14 describes the spirit of knowing the Gita. We have to accept the Gita in the mood in which Arjuna has accepted the Gita. How has Arjuna accepted the Gita? He says, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. So it's not that Arjuna says, oh, I can accept this part, but I would not accept that part. I would reject this portion. So in the same way, following the footsteps of Arjuna, we learn that we have to accept as truth all that Krishna has said. Probably we are not able to apply in our lives everything that Krishna speaks. Probably we don't understand everything that Krishna speaks, but that doesn't mean that Krishna has not spoken the truth. We accept as truth everything that Krishna has said, irrespective of whether we are not able to understand something, irrespective of whether we are not able to apply something. So Arjuna says, I accept as truth all that you have told me. There is no question of applying the half-hen theory here. Half-hen theory, Artha, Kukuta, Nyaya. Artha means half, Kukuta means hen, Nyaya means theory. What's this half-hen theory? We know, we've learned in our schools, in our moral science classes, we were taught that there was this person who had a hen that laid a golden egg, but he was not happy with the front half of the hen because he had to feed the hen. He only wanted to stay with the second half of the hen because the second half of the hen's body is laying the golden egg. So he decided to cut the hen into two, get rid of the head and only keep the back part, which is laying the golden eggs. But then in that pursuit, he lost even the eggs, the golden eggs that the hen would lay every day. So if we are going to accept half and reject half, then we are not even going to understand the Gita and the right spirit at all. So there is no question of half-hen theory. Ardha Kukuta Nyaya we cannot apply here, because there are sections. See, for example, when Krishna says that this world is dukhalayam ashashvatam, this place is full of misery, somebody may say, oh, that's a very pessimistic way of presenting things. Oh, that's very negative. But then if Krishna says it is a world full of miseries, it is a world full of miseries. It is a fact. But when Krishna says that I protect my devotees, oh yes, that I can accept. No, we have to accept as truth all that Krishna says. Then what does Arjuna go on to say? He says, neither the demigods nor the demons can understand. We know that the demigods are very, very intelligent. Demons are very, very powerful. So even the most powerful and the most intelligent people can understand Krishna. Neither the demigods nor the demons, oh Lord, can understand your personality, he says. Let's read this.
Spirit of knowing Bhagavad Gita. Except in the mode of Arjuna, totally accept all. The Bhagavad Gita should be understood in the Parampara system.
Bhagavad Gita should be understood in the parampara system. Krishna himself said in chapter 4, Evam Parampara Praptam, that this knowledge has been passed down in disciplic succession. Then he goes on to mention how he spoke this knowledge to the sun god, and then the sun god went on to speak it to his son. So like that, there is a disciplic succession which Krishna himself says. And he says that this knowledge is received in disciplic succession. It's received in the parampara system. So Bhagavad Gita should be understood in the parampara system. There is no question of jumping over the parampara and being able to understand this transcendental knowledge. So complete acceptance means what? I accept it as true, even though I may not understand it, even though I may not be able to apply it. Let's read the last two lines.
Emulate the spirit. The acceptance of all that Krishna says should be emulated, and then only can we understand. The essence of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead.
Okay, so half-hand logic. Let's read this.
Ardha Kukutiya Nyai, half-hand logic. If you have faith in one but disrespect the other, your logic is like the logic of accepting half a hen. Bhagavad Gita cannot be understood thinking, I accept things which are very favorable to my understanding, and other things I reject.
Okay, so this we have already discussed.
It is not possible to know the Bhagavad Gita by academic education and without disciplic succession. Due to false pride of academic education, despite evidence, one sticks to the obstinate conviction that Krishna is an ordinary person.
So many people, many great philosophers, thinkers, even great spiritual leaders, sometimes they say that Krishna is an ordinary person. I happened to hear a comment by a very popular speaker on YouTube, and he was saying that Krishna is a failed politician because he was not able to prevent the war. So if somebody is going to call Krishna a failed politician, that means he thinks that Krishna is an ordinary human being, that he was not able to do something. There is nothing that Krishna cannot do. It's not that Krishna was not able to prevent the war. The reason he also went there as a peace messenger, isn't it? But just imagine if that war would not have happened, then what would have happened? Duryodhan would have been crowned king. And after that, is there going to be peace? With Duryodhan as the king, is there going to be peace?
No.
No, there is not going to be peace. So sometimes violence is necessary to establish peace. You see, our country, India, we very proudly say, no, we got our independence on the principles of non-violence. But do we have peace even today after so many decades of independence? Is there peace?
No.
There is no peace, even after so many decades, isn't it? So violence is sometimes important. It is necessary to establish peace. And that's why the war happened, to establish peace. Okay, let's go to 15.
स्वयमेवात्मनात्मानं वेत्थ त्वं पुरुषोत्तमं भूतभावनभूतेश देवदेव जगत्पते.
Translation. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency. O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe.
Okay, in verse 14, Arjuna said that nobody can understand you. Even the demigods nor the demons can understand you. So therefore, who can understand Krishna? Arjuna is saying, only you yourself know yourself. He says, only you alone know yourself. So nobody can understand Krishna other than Krishna himself. And then he's revealing more of his realizations. He is addressing Krishna as Purushottama. Purushottama means Purusha Uttama. He is the supreme person, the greatest of all persons. Bhuta Bhavana. He is the origin of everything. Then he's referring to him as Bhutesha. Bhutesha means Bhuta Isha. He is the Lord of everything. Then he calls him Deva Deva, Lord of all demigods. and then Jagatpate, Lord of the entire universe. Further realizations by Arjuna.
वक्तुमर्हस्य शेषेण दिव्या ह्यात्मविभूतयः याभिर्विभूतिभिर्लोकान् इमां त्वं व्याप्य तिष्ठसि.
Translation. Please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds.
So Arjuna has a request now. He wants to hear about Krishna from Krishna. This is what he wants. And he tells him, please tell me in detail. He wants to know about his opulences in detail. Because Krishna may say that, well, I have already spoken about my opulences. In fact, in that one line, when he says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, everything is emanating from me. Krishna says, well, in that one line, I have said everything about my opulences. But now, therefore, Arjuna is saying, he's specifying that in detail, please tell me in detail. Okay, this is Arjuna's request. Let's read this.
Text 10.16, theme Arjuna's request. Arjuna requests to hear about Krishna directly from Krishna, requests to hear in detail about his divine opulences by which he pervades all these worlds. Arjuna has complete understanding and is already convinced and satisfied with his understanding of Krishna. Then what is the cause of Arjuna's inquiry?
What is the answer to this question?
For the common people like us.
Exactly. For our benefit, Arjuna is making this inquiry. So he is already convinced and he is satisfied. But still he is asking Krishna to talk about his opulences so that we can benefit. This is the nature of a Vaishnava. This is the nature of a devotee, to be compassionate and to share the mercy with as many people as possible. Okay, 17.
कथं विद्यामहं योगिन् त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया.
O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead?
So here Arjuna is asking three questions. What are the three questions? How shall I constantly think of you? How shall I know you? And at what various forms are you to be remembered? Keshu, keshu, cha, bhaveshu. In what various forms? In what physical representations can you be remembered? Because for somebody who's a gross materialist, he may not be able to understand Krishna from the spiritual angle of vision. So therefore now, if Krishna speaks about his material manifestations, how from the objects that we can see, we can remember Krishna, then it will be easier for a materialist to be able to remember Krishna. So therefore, he is telling him in what various forms you can be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here, Arjuna is referring to Krishna as yogins. He says, O Supreme Mystic. Krishna is the master of Yoga Maya. Now we know that there are two Mayas, Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. Mahamaya is an expansion of Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya is Krishna's internal energy. Mahamaya is Krishna's external energy. Yoga Maya's service is to make people forget Krishna, but in order to bring them closer to Krishna. So the people of Vrindavan, the residents of Vrindavan, Yashoda, they are all covered by the Yoga Maya potency, so that they forget that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that's how they can share an intimate relationship with Krishna. If they don't forget that Krishna is God, then there is going to be reverence in the relationship, and that intimacy will not be possible. So Yoga Maya covers Krishna's identity, but it takes people closer to Krishna. And what does Mahamaya do? Mahamaya also makes people forget Krishna, but she makes people move away from Krishna, because then the sincerity of the soul is being tested there. How sincere is one? If one is not sincere, not sincerely seeking Krishna, then he's going to be engrossed in sense gratification and he's going to forget Krishna. So Krishna is the master of all mystic powers. That's why one of Krishna's names is Yogeshwar. And here Arjuna is referring to him by he says that you are, O supreme mystic. Yes. Okay.
विस्तरेणात्मनो योगं विभूतिं च जनार्दन भूयः कथय तृप्तिर्हि शृण्वतो नास्ति मे मृतम्.
Translation. O Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words.
Again, he's saying, Arjuna is saying, please describe in detail. Vistarena. Again, Arjuna is saying, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. What is the reason? Now, Arjuna is giving the reason why he wants to hear. He says that I am never satiated. See that word triptam. He's not satisfied. He's never satisfied in hearing about Krishna. Why? Because the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. So Arjuna says it is amritam, it is nectar. So this is another reason why Arjuna is requesting Krishna to speak about his opulences in detail, because it's very nectarian for him. He's a devotee, enjoys to hear from Krishna. Okay, let's see a summary of these verses. Let's read this.
10.14, Arjuna acknowledges that not even the gods can know Krishna's personality. 10.15, Arjuna says that Krishna alone knows himself. 10.16 to 18, Arjuna requests that Krishna speak about his glories in detail. Arjuna's inability to understand doesn't stop him from inquiring more about Krishna.
So even though Arjuna himself is saying that nobody can understand Krishna other than himself, still he wants to know about Krishna. So how to understand this paradox of on one side acknowledging the inability to know, and on the other side expressing the desire to know more? We have some reasons here. Let's see.
Purpose of knowledge on the devotional path is not intellectual conquest, but devotional attraction. Devotees don't want to know Krishna so that they can dissect him and have him all figured out. They want to know him because they love him.
Yes, because it is out of love that they want to know more and more. Just as how if a young boy or a young girl, they like someone, then they want to know more and more about that person. So because a devotee loves Krishna, he wants to know more and more about Krishna. Let's read this.
Summary of text 10.16 to 10.18. Why Arjuna wants to hear more about the all-pervading, diving opulences of Krishna. A. Arjuna is already satisfied with the understanding of Krishna and has no doubt about Krishna's position. 10.16. B. Therefore, he is asking for the following reasons. For sake of common people, on behalf of the common people and especially impersonalists who in particular concern themselves with the all-pervading nature of the Supreme. For sake of a materialist, also wants to know how a materialist who is absorbed in physical things can see Krishna manifested by physical representations. 10.17. For personal absorption, Arjuna wants to know how shall I constantly think of you. 10.17. And to taste the nectar, wants to hear more and more and taste the nectar of his words. 10.18.
So these are the reasons why Arjuna wants Krishna to speak in detail about his opulences. Now, is Krishna going to accept this request or no? Let's see what Krishna has to say.
Shri Bhagavan Hanta te kathayishyami Divyahyatma vibhutayah Pradhanyatah kuru sreshtha Nastyanto vistarasya me.
Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but but only of those which are prominent. O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless.
So has Krishna agreed to Arjuna's request?
Yes,
Yes.
partially.
Partially, yes, partially. So yes, Krishna says, okay, I will speak, but only of those which are prominent. Pradhayantaha, he says, only the pradhana, only the chief of those, only the prominent opulences of mine I will speak, Krishna says. Why? Because na asti anto. Krishna himself is saying, why is he not going to go into details? Is because my opulence is limitless. Na asti anto. There is no end to it. There is no limit to my opulences. And remember, they are in the middle of a battlefield. So Krishna is going to speak about his opulences, but only the prominent ones now.
अहमात्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूताशयस्थितः अहमादिश्च मध्यं च भूतानामन्त एव च.
Translation: I am the super soul. O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities, I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings.
So now Krishna is going to describe how we may remember him by seeing the greatest manifestations in the world. But before he goes into those details, first of all, he's establishing that he is the super soul who's residing in the heart of Sarva Bhuta, in all the living entities. So first he says that he's a super soul, and then he says that I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Aham Adis cha Madhyam cha Bhutanam Anta Eva cha. So how is he the beginning of all the living entities? Because his expansion, Mahavishnu, when he breathes out, everything gets rolling. You know, all the universes are coming from the pores of his skin, all the living entities, everything is coming from him. So therefore, Krishna is the beginning. How is he the middle? Because maintenance also, how we are maintaining, how we are able to live, because the super soul is present along with the soul. So the super soul in our heart is maintaining us. So therefore, he is also the middle. If there is no soul and super soul, then the body is a dead body. And then how is he the end of all beings? Again, Mahavishnu. When he breathes in, everything winds up and goes into the body of Mahavishnu, who is an expansion of Krishna. So like that, he is the beginning, he is the middle, and he is the end of all beings. Now here, Krishna is referring to Arjuna by the name Gudakesha. The name Gudakesha means what?
The conqueror of sleep.
Yes, exactly. Conqueror of sleep. So the reason why Krishna is referring to Arjuna as the conqueror of sleep just before he begins to describe his opulences, let us read here in this slide.
Arjuna is addressed as Gudakesha, which means one who has conquered the darkness of sleep. For those who are sleeping in the darkness of ignorance, it is not possible to understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in various ways in the material and spiritual worlds. Thus, this address by Krishna to Arjuna is significant. Because Arjuna is above such darkness, the personality of Godhead agrees to describe his various opulences.
So conqueror of sleep means one who has conquered ignorance. When one is in the mode of ignorance, then one cannot understand the opulences of Krishna. So therefore, because Arjuna has conquered sleep, because he is above the mode of ignorance, therefore Krishna has agreed to describe his opulences to Arjuna. Okay, that's the reason why. So it's very significant that he's referring to him as Gudakesha. So even in and okay, when we recite our invocatory verses, no, we recite the verses that come in the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita, which has written, of course, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So this is the first verse there, which he writes in the introduction. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. So who is this person who's going to open our eyes from the darkness of ignorance? Who is this person who's going to bring us from darkness to light? This verse says that it is the spiritual master. Let's read the translation of this.
I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
So it is a spiritual master who opens our eyes and brings us out of ignorance into light. This is what this verse means. Even this verse, which we hear when we offer our respects to Srila Prabhupada, Samsara Dava, Nalalida Loka, Tranaya Karunya, Ghana Ghanatvam, Praptasya Kalyana Gunar Navasya, Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. This is actually a part of the Guru Ashtakam. It's the first verse of the 8 verses of the Guru Ashtakam prayers. And Srila Prabhupada established in his temples, in all his temples all over the world, this is the first prayer that is recited during the Mangal Arati at 4:30 a.m. when the altar is open for the first time during the day. The very first thing that is recited are these prayers to the spiritual master. That's how important it is to have a bona fide spiritual master. Let's read the translation of this.
The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy. Just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it, so the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master who is an ocean of auspicious qualities.
So spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy. Who is this ocean of mercy?
Krishna.
Krishna. Right? So we have that verse, no? Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu. Karuna Sindhu means ocean of mercy. So the spiritual master is receiving benediction from Krishna. By the mercy of Krishna, we get a guru. By the mercy of the guru, we get Krishna. This is how the system works. Okay, 10.21.
आदित्यानामहं विष्णुर्ज्योतिषां रविरंशुमान् मरीचिर्मरुतामस्मि नक्षत्राणामहं शशि.
Translation. Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Of lights, I am the radiant sun. Of the Maruts, I am Marichi. And among the stars, I am the moon.
Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Now, Kashyapa Rishi had 2 wives, Diti and Aditi. The sons of Aditi are called as Adityas, and the sons of Diti are called as the Daityas. So Daityas are all atheistic, and the sons of Aditi or the Adityas, they are all Vaishnavas, devotees. And it was from the womb of Aditi that Vamana Dev had appeared. So therefore, Krishna is saying that of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Of lights, I am the radiant sun. Of all the objects that are shining in the sky, the most bright, the most radiant of them all is the sun. So he says, I am the radiant sun. Of the Maruts, I am Marichi. Now, Maruts are the demigods of winds or air, and they had taken birth from the womb of Diti. Now, remember the sons of Diti, as we said, they are atheists, but these Maruts, actually, they became Vaishnavas. How, we will see in the upcoming slide. But the most prominent among them is Marichi. So therefore, Krishna says, of the Maruts, I am Marichi. And among the stars, I am the moon, because moon is the brightest star. So here is a list of the 12 Adityas or the 12 sun gods, the sons of Aditi. This is just for your information. Let's just read the first few lines.
The sun god who controls the affairs of the entire universe, especially in regard to heat, light, seasonal changes, and so on, is considered an expansion of Narayana. He represents the 3 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, and Sham, and therefore he is known as Trayi Maya, the form of Lord Narayana. Sometimes the sun god is also called Surya Narayana. The sun god has expanded himself in 12 divisions.
So the sun god is an expansion of Narayan, and therefore he is referred to as Surya Narayan. Okay. And here you have a list of the 12 Adityas with their ruling month, their solar and the lunar months, their names in Sanskrit. So here we have Vivashwan also. Vivashwan is the sun god who received this knowledge from Krishna. Okay, so let's read a little bit about how the sons of Aditi became Vaishnavas.
Just to help Indra, Lord Vishnu had killed Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu. Because of this, Aditi was very envious and she was eager to have a son who could kill Indra. By her service, she enchanted Kashyapa Muni in order to beg from him a greater son to do this. In corroboration of the Vedic injunction, Vidvam Sham Api Karshati, Kashyap Muni was attracted to his beautiful wife and promised to grant her any request. When, however, she requested a son who would kill Indra, he condemned himself and he advised his wife Diti to follow the Vaishnava ritualistic ceremonies to purify herself. When Diti, following the instructions of Kashyap, engaged in devotional service, Indra could understand her purpose and he began observing all her activities. One day, Indra had the opportunity to see her deviating from devotional service. Thus, he entered her womb and cut her son into 49 parts. In this way, the 49 kinds of air, known as the Maruts, appeared, but because Diti had performed the Vaishnava ritualistic ceremonies, all the sons became Vaishnavas. Commentary by Sri Sridhar Swami of Rudra Sampradaya. Of the Maruts, the 7 groups of winds which flow throughout all space, atmosphere, Lord Krishna is the wind known as Parivaha, which precedes all the others and bears the name Marichi. It should not be misconstrued that Lord Krishna is talking about one of the 6 great sages who were mind born by Brahma, also with the same name, as that is not correct.
So although these Maruts had come from the womb of Diti, and Diti's sons, as we discussed, are demons, Daityas, these 49 Maruts became Vaishnavas because when they were in her womb, she had performed devotional service, and therefore they have become Vaishnavas. And coming to Marichi, we should not confuse Marichi with the son of Brahma, because previously we learned about the mind-born sons of Brahma in the previous class, the Saptarishis. So there is a name Marichi there. But this Marichi and that Marichi are not the same person. Okay, so they are different personalities. Okay. So we'll see here, beginning from this 21, that Krishna is going to mention different groups of objects or people or personalities. And then he chooses the best amongst the lot and he says that person is me, which means that the opulence of that greatest object represents the opulence of Krishna. Like that. So this entire section up till the end of chapter is going to be like that. Let's go to 22.
Vedanam samavedosmi devanam vasavah indriyanam manaschasmi bhutanam chetanam.
Translation. Of the Vedas, I am the Samaveda. Of the demigods, I am Indra, the king of heaven. Of the senses, I am the mind. And in living beings, I am the living force, consciousness.
Of the Vedas, I am Samaveda. So Samaveda is very unique Veda because of its musical notes. It is also called as the knowledge of music because of its unique way in which it is presented. And the musical style of the Samaveda is so attractive that it evokes emotions. So therefore, he's saying of the Vedas, I am the Samaveda. Of the demigods, I am Indra. Now, Indra is the king of heaven, where all the devatas reside. Therefore, he says that of the demigods, I am Indra. Of the senses, I am the mind. Of all the senses that we have, the most difficult to control, the most important is the mind. So therefore, Krishna says of the senses, I am the mind. And in the living beings, I am the living force, consciousness. As long as the soul is present in the body is conscious. The body is reacting to external situations. So the moment there is no soul, there is no consciousness, it means that it is a dead body. So therefore, he's saying in the living beings, I am the consciousness that makes the body alive. 53.
रुद्राणां शङ्करश्चास्मि वित्तेशो यक्षरक्षसां वसूनां पावकश्चास्मि मेरुः शिखरिणामहम्.
Translation. Of all the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of Wealth, Kuvera. Of the Vasus, I am fire, Agni. And of mountains, I am Meru.
So we have 11 Rudras and 11 Rudranis. So Krishna is saying that of all the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva, Shankaras, Krishna says. So Shankar or Lord Shiva synonymous, same person here. So he's saying of the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of Wealth, Kuvera. So Kuvera is the Lord of Wealth. He is the half brother of Ravan. He is a demigod and he is the leader of the Yakshas. So therefore Krishna says of them, I am the Lord of Wealth. Of the Vasus, I am fire. Now in the previous class, we were discussing about the 8 Vasus and how one of the Vasus was Bhishma Dev in his previous lifetime. But anyway, here Krishna is saying that of the Vasus, I am fire, Agni, and of the mountains, I am Meru. In the previous class, there were some questions about who are the 8 Vasus, the names of the 8 Vasus. So here is a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam that gives us the names of the 8 Vasus. And just for some extra information, I put in here about how why the Vasus were cursed, because this was being discussed in the previous class. So let's read.
Srimad Bhagavatam 6.6 to 10:11. The sons of Vasu were known as the 8 Vasus. Just hear their names from me: Drona, Prana, Dhruva, Arka, Agni, Dosa, Vastu, and Vibhavasu. The 8 Vasus tried to steal the heavenly wish-fulfilling cow Nandini of sage Vasishtha and were cursed by him. The Vasus then remorsefully returned the cow and begged his forgiveness, but Vasishtha said his words could not prove false. Because they repeatedly requested for mercy, he finally said, "You 8 Vasus will all be born on earth, but you will be freed from the curse quickly. Only Dyahu, the chief culprit, will have to remain on earth for a full lifetime. He will be virtuous, powerful, and learned in the Vedas, but he will not beget offspring. Indeed, he will have to abstain from the pleasures of women." The Vasus asked Ganga to go to earth as a woman and become their mother, as they did not wish to enter the womb of any human woman. When Ganga asked who they would choose as their father, they replied, "There is a king named Pratipa who will soon have a son named Shantanu. That prince is destined to become our father." Ganga was delighted. Shantanu would be an incarnation of Mahavisha. She smiled, "I will surely become your mother. Go where you will soon meet again."
So this is the reason why Bhishma Dev had to live a very long life and had to abstain from the pleasures of women. Because in his previous lifetime, upon being urged by his wife, he was the chief plotter to go and kidnap this wish-fulfilling cow of sage Vasishtha, and therefore Vasishtha cursed. And why is Ganga delighted? If Shantanu would be an incarnation of Mahavisha, there is a story behind that also. Let us read that here.
In ancient times, there lived a king named Mahavisha. During his long life, he performed great sacrifices and as a result ascended to Indra's abode at the end of his life. Once in an assembly of the gods with Brahma present, Mahavisha saw the divinely beautiful Ganga. As he looked at her, a gust of wind suddenly blew away her garments. All the celestials looked away, but Mahavisha continued to gaze at her captivated by her beauty. For this rudeness, Brahma cursed him as follows: "You will again be born on earth, but you will return here after one life." Mahavishya thought for a moment, remembering all the monarchs on earth. Among them, all he considered a king named Pratipa to be the most pious. He therefore asked Brahma if he might become Pratipa's son, to which Brahma agreed.
So this was a perfect setting for Ganga, no? Because she knew that Mahavishya was attracted towards her, and now these sons want to be born from her womb, and therefore Ganga, she drowned 7 sons immediately, because as she was drowning them, they were getting released from the curse immediately. But of course, Bhishma, he was the chief culprit in that group of children who tried to, not children, but the group of 8 Vasus who tried to steal the cow. Therefore, he had to live a long life. So this is the story behind this. Anyway, this is just extra information, but Krishna says amongst the 8 Vasus, he is Agni. So here you have the names of the 8 Vasus, and you have Agni there. Now, what is this Mount Meru? Let us try to understand a little bit about Vedic cosmology to understand Mount Meru. So we know that there are 3 planetary systems. We have the upper planetary system, and then we have the middle planetary system, and we have the lower planetary system. Now here we are going to talk only about the middle planetary system, where we are situated. Yes. So the middle planetary system is divided into 7 dvipas and 7 oceans, 7 continents or 7 islands and 7 oceans. We know one ocean, which is salt ocean, but there are oceans of sugarcane juice. There is an ocean of liquor. There is an ocean of ghee, yogurt, ocean of milk, and ocean of clear water. So these are the different oceans that are there in the different parts of this middle planetary system. Let us read.
Bhumandal is divided into 7 concentric island continents, Saptadvipa, separated by the 7 encircling oceans, each double the size of the preceding one, going out from within. The 7 intermediate oceans consist of salt water, sugarcane juice, wine, ghee, yogurt, milk, and water respectively. The 7 island dvipas of Bhumandal are known as Jambu, Sakar, Salmali, Kusha, Kroncha, Gomeda or Plaksh, and Pushkara.
Okay, so here we have the names of the 7 islands and the 7 oceans. Where are we situated? In which dvipa, in which island or which continent are we in out of these 7 names?
Is it Jambu?
Yes, Jambu Dvipa. How do we know that? Other than, of course, Guru Sadhana Shastra, but if we want to make a logical conclusion, which is the ocean that is surrounding Jambu Dvip? It is the,
Plaksha.
yeah, so the ocean of,
Sugar.
no. Do we have the
Is
sugar
it
ocean?
salt?
Can we see? Salt ocean. Yeah, if you see the picture, the innermost, see, Jambudvip is the last name on the list in the picture. So it's the center, it's the innermost island, Jambudvip, which is surrounded by the salt ocean. So this is why we know, because we know that we have the salt ocean, therefore we are in Jambudvip. So the middle planetary system has this, the 7 dvipas and the 7 oceans. And we know that we are in Jambudvipa. Now, Jambudvipa also is further divided. Here, we can see the divisions of Jambudvipa here in this. Let's read this.
This earth planet Bhumandala is divided into 7 dvipas by 7 oceans, and the central dweep called Jambudvipa is divided into 9 varshas or paths by 8 huge mountains. In Jambudvipa, there are 9 divisions of land, each within the length of 9,000 yojanas, 72,000 miles. There are 8 mountains that mark the boundaries of these divisions and separate them nicely.
So this is only Jambudvip. This is the innermost island. And now this Jambudvip is further divided into different varshas or different tracts of land. This green section that you see here, they're all different tracts of land. So how many varshas or tracts of land do we have here in Jambudvip?
9, right?
9. Yes, 9 tracts of land are there, and they are divided by these different mountains. How many mountains do we have?
8.
8. There are 6 horizontal and 2 vertical. Okay, so where are we? Which Varsha are we in? Out of, now we know we are in Jambudvip. Now which tract of land are we in here out of all this?
Himalaya.
Himalaya.
Bharat,
Yeah, Himalaya is the mountain. And which
Bharatavarsha.
Varsha are we in?
Bharatvarsh.
Bharatavarsha.
Bharatvarsh.
Bharat Varsha, yes. So we are in this tract of land. Okay. And here you can see the Sumeru mountain here, which is right in the middle of Jambudvip. Of course, Jambudvip is the innermost Dvipa, innermost continent, innermost island. And in the center of that is this Mount Meru. So Krishna says, out of Mount Meru, out of all the mountains, I am Mount Meru. Now, is Bharatvarsha, are we here? Now, which part of Bharatvarsha are we in? Because Bharatvarsha also is further divided into different sections. Let us see the sections of, okay, here we have a list of the different Varshas and the 8 mountains. And here, if you see closely, when I share the picture in the group, you can see the measurements also is given here. Okay. Okay, now this Bharatvarsha is further divided into different sections. Let's read this.
This portion called Bharatvarsha was originally a contiguous landmass, but long ago it was drastically reformed by the incredible digging of Emperor Sagara's 60,000 sons. They dug so extensively that most of Bharatvarsha became submerged into the saltwater ocean, leaving only 9 globular islands, each within 8,000 miles, 1,000 yojanas diameter. One of these 9 islands is our Earth planet, known primarily as Bharat Khand, also known as Kumar, Kumarika, Sagar, Rasambrita, and so forth.
So now this Bharatvarsha is further divided into 9 sections. And one of those 9 is our planet Earth. All these details you can see in the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyway, coming to the bottom line, Krishna says, of mountains I am Meru. So you can see here Meru is in the middle of Jambudvip and how it is in comparison to the Himalayas. So now we understand why Krishna says, of mountains I am Meru.
So I'm confused. So like what other ocean? We cannot see them, right?
Saltwater ocean only we can see.
Yeah, but we cannot see the other ones, right?
No, we cannot see, at least as long as we are in this body. In the next lifetime, maybe we are in some other dvipa, then we can see some other ocean.
So there's life in other dvipa as well.
Yes.
Okay.
For example, say here, where is that picture? The description given, there is a description of each of these dvipas in the Bhagavatam, and I was just reading how Ilavarta Varsha, there the only male is Lord Shiva in Ilavarta Varsha, for example. So like that, you have descriptions of these different Varshas in the Bhagavatam, if you like to read, in the 5th canto.
Okay. And this is just the Jambudvipa.
Yes, this is only Jambudvip, correct. Here are all this picture and the previous picture, same thing. The different oceans and the different dvipas. This is the entire earthly planetary system. Okay, the middle planets, the middle planetary system. Within the middle planetary system, now here we have Jambudvip with these different varshas and different mountains. So we are in Bharat Varsha, rock bottom in the picture. And in that Bharat Varsha, again, there are different divisions. And in that Bharat Varsha, the one division is, what's the term here? Bharata Khanda. That is our Earth planet. That's where we are situated.
Okay, and can other be compared to other planets like Saturn, Mercury, Venus?
Yeah, that information is not there. Even I was thinking that because it says here 9 divisions and our scientists say 9 planets. So I don't know. That detail is not given. I was thinking the same, but I cannot establish that because then there could be a speculation.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to 10.24.
पुरोधसां च मुख्यं मां विद्धि पार्थ बृहस्पतिं सेनानीनामहं स्कन्दः सरसामस्मि सागरः
Translation of priests, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief Prahaspati. Of generals, I am Kartikeya, and of bodies of water, I am the ocean.
Of the priests, know me to be the chief Brihaspati. So Brihaspati, he is the priest of the Devatas. Therefore, amongst all the priests, the most important is Brihaspati. And Krishna says that opulence is a representation of my opulence. Of the generals, I am Skanda, Kartikeya. Now, Kartikeya, he is the son of Lord Shiva, and he is the commander-in-chief of the army of the gods, of the Devatas. Therefore, of all the commanders-in-chief of all the different armies, the chief of them is Kartikeya, the most powerful. Therefore, that is me, Krishna says. And of the bodies of water, I am the ocean. Now, all the rivers, they get finally deposited in the ocean, isn't it? But still the ocean water does not increase. It's not going to overflow with all these rivers flowing into the ocean. And then the sun is also constantly evaporating the water from the ocean, but the ocean water quantity does not decrease. So the ocean water quantity is neither increasing nor decreasing. Therefore, of all the bodies of water, I am the ocean, Krishna says. 25.
महर्षीणां भृगुरहं गिरामस्म्येकमक्षरम् यज्ञानां जपयज्ञोऽस्मि स्थावराणां हिमालयः
Translation of the great sages, I am Bhru. Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, Japa. And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas.
Of the sages, I am Bhrigu. Bhrigu is one of the mind-born sons of Brahma, and one of the great sages also. Very, very powerful. Therefore, he's saying, of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om. Eka Aksharam. Eka Aksharam means Krishna is talking about Om. All Vedic chants begin with Om. Therefore, he says, of sacrifices, I am the chant. I'm sorry, of all the vibrations, I am Om. Then he says, of sacrifices, of all the yagyas, I am the chanting of the holy name, Japa. We know how powerful it is to chant the holy name. How powerful is Japa? So Krishna is saying, of all the sacrifices, of all the yagyas, now Japa Yagyo, the chanting of the holy name, that is me. And then he says, of immovable things, I am the Himalayas. Previously, Krishna spoke about Mount Meru. Now he's saying, of the immovable things, I am Himalayas. Why? Because even although the Mount Meru is much bigger than the Himalayas, still it may sometimes be movable. But Himalayas are immovable. Therefore, Krishna says, of the immovable things, I am the Himalayas. 26.
अश्वत्थः सर्ववृक्षाणां देवर्षीणां च नारदः गन्धर्वाणां चित्ररथः सिद्धानां कपिलो मुनिः
Translation of all trees, I am the banyan tree. And of the sages among the demigods, I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chittaratha. And among perfected beings, I am the sage Kapila.
Of all the trees, I am the banyan tree. So the banyan tree is very, very huge, very large, very long, and it can extend a shade, nice shade for a large area. Banyan tree is also greatly revered and worshipped in many cultures, right? So therefore, he's saying that all the trees, I am the banyan tree. Of all the sages among the demigods, I am Narada. Now, Narada is an empowered empowered incarnation of the Lord. He is empowered to preach. Anybody who comes in touch with Narada becomes a devotee. That's why Narada has so many stalwart disciples like Dhruva, Vyasadeva, Prahlad, etc. Now the word Narada means what? Nara means man and Da means to give. So Narada is that personality who's always giving man. What is he giving? He's giving the love of God. Therefore, Krishna says, of the sages among the demigods, I am Narada. And Narada is also one of the 12 Mahajans, one of the 12 authorities on the science of God. Then amongst the Gandharvas, I am Chitrarat. Now, Gandharvas are the musicians of the celestial planets. Of all those Gandharvas, Chitrarat is the best musician. Therefore, amongst the Gandharvas, I am Chitrarat, he says. And among perfected beings, I am the sage Kapila. Kapila Muni is actually the supreme personality of Godhead himself. And he is also one of the 12 Mahajans. He appeared in the womb of Devahuti, who was the wife of Kardama Muni. So therefore, he is amongst the perfected beings. I am the sage Kapila. 27.
उच्चैः श्रवसमश्वानां विद्धि माममृतोद्भवम् ऐरावतं गजेन्द्राणां नराणां च नराधिपम्.
Oh, translation. Of horses, know me to be Uchahishrawa, produced during the churning of the ocean for nectar. Of lordly elephants, I am Aravata, and among men, I am the monarch.
So Uchchaishrava and Airavata, the horse and the elephant, both these were produced from the churning of the ocean. When the ocean was churned, one side they were the Devatas, on the other side were the demons, and the ocean was churned, and many things, objects, personalities came out of the churning of the ocean. The ocean was being churned because both of them wanted Amrit, nectar of immortality. But before nectar, many things came out. So one of those two things that came out were Uchchaishrava and Airavat. Both of them belong to Lord Indra. And because they came from the churning of the ocean, therefore they are very, very special. And among men, I am the monarch, the king. So there are many, many human beings. There are many people. And the leader of all these beings is the king, the monarch. In the previous ages, the kings were very, very righteous, and they would only think about the well-being of the people in general. So therefore, the king is supposed to be a representation of the Lord. And therefore, Krishna is saying, amongst the men, I am the monarch. 28.
आयुधानामहं वज्रं धेनूनामस्मि कामधो प्रजनश्चास्मि कन्दर्पः सर्पाणामस्मि वासुकिः.
Translation. Of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am the Surabhi. Of causes for procreation, I am Gandharpa, the god of love. And of serpents, I am Vasuki.
Of weapons, I am thunderbolt, Vajram. Whose weapon is the Vajra?
Indra.
Indra, Lord Indra, isn't it? He uses the Vajra. This Vajra is so powerful that if a mountain is struck by this Vajra, it will be reduced to powder within moments. That's how powerful is the Vajra. So therefore, Krishna is saying, of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am Surabhi. Surabhi is a wish-fulfilling cow. So therefore, she can produce as much milk as one desires. Therefore, Krishna says that amongst the cows, I am Surabhi. Of causes for procreation, I am Kandarpa. So Kandarpa is that sex desire for presenting good sons. Procreation. Procreation means to have children and to have good children. Good children who would not have to take birth again, would become devotees, would realize God and not have to take birth again. So not Not all lust is sinful. When that lust, when the union between the man and woman is for having good children, then that sex life represents the opulence of Krishna. Because when a couple unite and they have within the Shastric injunctions and they have children, then the soul is getting an opportunity to get a human body and to be able to realize God. Because only in the human body we can realize God. So therefore Krishna says, of causes for procreation, I am Kandarpa, the god of love. And of serpents, I am Vasuki. Now this Vasuki serpent was used during the churning of the ocean and was used as a rope. So imagine a huge ocean is being churned, and on one side, all the devatas are pulling, on the other side, all the demons are pulling. So we need a really strong rope. If there's an ordinary rope, the rope is going to break, obviously. So Vasuki servant is so strong that it was able to hold on to the strength of all the devatas and all the demons on the two opposite sides. Therefore, Krishna is saying that of the serpents, I am Vasuki. 29.
अनन्तश्चास्मि नागानां वरुणो यादसामहं पितॄणामर्यमा चास्मि यमः संयमतामहम्.
Translation of the many.
Your voice is breaking, Komal.
Among aquatics of departed ancestors, I am Yam of death.
Okay, we could not get you. Can you read it again? Your voice broke.
Sorry, must be my internet. Sorry. Translation of the many hooded Nagas, I am Ananta, and among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varuna. Of departed ancestors, I am Aryama, and among the dispensers of law, I am Yama, the lord of death.
Of the many hooded Nagas, I am Ananta. Now, in the previous shloka, Krishna spoke about the Sarpa, Vasuki. Here is saying Naga. Among the Naga, I am Ananta. What is the difference between a Naga and a Sarpa?
Does Nag have many hoods and Sarp has just one hood?
Yes, Naga has many hoods. So Ananta Dev or Ananta Shesha has 1,000 hoods. No, Sarpa has only one hood. So among the many hooded Nagas, then he says that I am Ananta. Among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varuna. Varuna is the lord of the oceans, and he is the lord of all the living entities that are in the oceans. Therefore, he is saying among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varuna. Of the departed ancestors, I am Aryama. Aryama is he's in charge of Pitra Loka. Pitra Loka, Pitra means ancestor, Loka means planet. So do all our departed ancestors go to Pitra Loka? No. When one does extraordinary punya, he will go to the heavenly planets. When one is very, very sinful, then he goes to the hellish planets. When one does average punya, karmas, then he goes to Pitralok. And Aryama is he's in charge of Pitraloka. Therefore, his power represents the power of Krishna. Then amongst the dispensers of law, I am Yamaraj. Krishna says, Yamaraj is the lord of death. He is also one of the 12 Mahajans. And there are many dispensers of law. No, we see also around us, we have the police, we have the defense forces, we have the High Court, the Supreme Court. They are all dispensers of law. But the greatest dispenser of law is Yamaraj when he passes the judgment. And Yamaraj is not interested in even taking a bribe, no, irrespective of how much we are ready to offer him or try to strike a deal with him. He is not interested in any kind of bribery, which around us sometimes, yes, there is the possibility that a dispenser of law is willing to favor you in return for another favor. But among the dispensers of law, Krishna says, I am Yamaraj, the lord of death. 30.
प्रह्लादश्चास्मि दैत्यानां कालः कलयतामहम् मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहं वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणाम्.
Translation. Among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahlad. Among subduers, I am time. Among beasts, I am the lion. And among birds, I am Garuda.
Among the Daityas. So Daityas are the children of
Aditi?
Diti. Yes, Diti. So among the Daitya demons, I am devoted Prahlad, Krishna says. So remember, Prahlad is actually born in a demon family. His father is Hiranyakashipu. He's a founder acharya of the demoniac society. So among the Daitya demons, he's a devoted Prahlad. Now, Prahlad is only 5 years old. And physically, he is very weak. There is no comparison of the physical strength of Prahlad compared to the physical strength of Hiranyakashipu. We discussed how Vajra of Indradev can reduce to powder a great mountain when it is struck by it. This very same Vajra, when Lord Indra tried to attack Hiranyakashipu, this very same Vajra did not even scratch Hiranyakashipu. Such was the potency of the boon that Lord Brahma had given to Hiranyakashipu. So you can imagine how strong he is physically. And Prahlad's physical strength is no match for Hiranyakashipu. But still, because of Prahlad's spiritual strength, 5-year-old devotional Prahlad, because of his spiritual strength, he was able to defeat Hiranyakashipu. And Narasimhadev came for him, isn't it? So therefore, among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahlad, Krishna says. Among the subduers of time, among subduers, I am time. Now, one may be very proud of some of his opulences. Maybe somebody is very proud of their beauty, but time is such a subduer that over a period of time, the beauty is going to be gone. One is going to have wrinkles on the face. One may be very powerful, one may have a lot of physical strength, but over a period of time, when we grow old, then the physical strength also takes away. So time subdues us. One may be very intelligent, very sharp mentally, but over a period of time, as we grow older, even we lose our mental sharpness, right? We tend to forget things. So time is the greatest subduer. There is no greater subduer than time. So Krishna says, among subduers, I am time. Among beasts, I am the lion. There are many animals in the forest, but the most majestic of them all is the lion. So Krishna says, amongst the beasts, I am the lion. And among birds, I am Garuda. Garuda is the Vahana of Lord Vishnu. By what name is he referred to here in the Sanskrit?
Vainateya.
Vainateya. Yes, Garuda is called as Vainateya because he is the son of Vinata. His mother's name is Vinata and his father's name is Kashyapa Muni. So amongst the birds, he is Garuda, Krishna says. We'll stop here. We have enough to contemplate on for the week. We'll continue in the next class, and by Krishna's mercy, we will finish the chapter in the next class. Shri Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Mataji, Shri
Jai.
Ki Jai, Shri Bhagavad Gita.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, all Bhakta
Jai.
Vrinda Ki Jai, Vanchakalpata Krupa Sindhumaya Vaishnavi Pawan Vaishnavi. Thank you, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam to your sincere seva. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you all for attending the class. It's always a pleasure to have you all.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhamma Pranam.
Do we have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So if Krishna says that he is the best among, everything and gives examples, but he's above that, right? Like, because he created, like, if he says that he's the weapon of Indra, but then he created Indra as well as the weapon. So why does he say, like, he's the Vajra?
Yeah, because see, remember Arjuna is telling Krishna, how can I see you? Amongst what physical representations can we understand Krishna? So this is in the benefit of the materialists, because a materialist cannot understand the spiritual angle of vision, but the materialist can see that the sun is the brightest object in the sky. Yes, the materialists can see that the lion is the most majestic animal in the forest. So we can see these material objects, and when we remember, when, like for example, when we see the sun, then by seeing the sun, we can remember Krishna. Oh, this opulence of the sun is only a partial manifestation of the opulence of Krishna. So for those who can think only from a material angle of vision, it is to help them that this whole section is spoken, especially for the materialists. So yes, Krishna is above them. This is only a partial manifestation of Krishna's opulence. And it does not mean that the Vajra or the lion is equal to Krishna. It means that the opulence of that category of people is a representation of the opulence of Krishna, like that.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, what else do we have to discuss?
माताजी वो जो आपने सब समझाया ना, वो भारत खंडा and द्वीपा, वो class in a Bhakti Sangha that Radha Gopinath Senior Brahmachari has given a first time 16 days that chapter is going on, Mataji.
Oh.
And still we all are like this because it is going half inside and half outside, because we are not seeing in bhakti. Then first 3 days like everybody is like this, and then Prabhuji come in our level, that senior brahmachari come in our level, so that we can understand that much forest, Mataji.
Yes, Vedic cosmology is difficult to understand. Canto 5 of the Bhagavatam, you read a million times also, it's not easy at all to understand. Very, very interesting. And we in Kali Yuga, we have reduced memory, reduced intelligence. So yeah, it is difficult. There is a PDF I will share the PDF in the group with many pictures and descriptions of the Vedic cosmology. That will also be useful if anybody of you are interested.
माताजी 10वें दिन थोड़ा थोड़ा समझ में आया, पहले 8-9 दिन तो
Oh.
It is very hard for everybody, not for me. All the senior Vaishnava also become little scared that it is not going to understand.
Yes,
But
it's very
then
tough.
Prabhuji will give a practical example and then explain from CC Bhagavatam.
Yeah. I have also read so many times, but every time I give up, I said, no, this is beyond my brain. Cannot understand.
Mataji, please share. Please share the PDF whenever you have time.
Yes, I will share the PDF in the group. I downloaded the PDF from a website, so it's very interesting. Okay. All right, I need to be going now. I hope to see you next week. Thank you all very much for your association. Have a nice Krishna conscious week, everyone. Hare Krishna.
You too, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you.
Mataji. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.